Hi everyone and welcome to the weekly update with me, Rich Pro, market analyst at Forex Markets. Each week I take you through the key events that I believe will be driving your investments in the coming days, and as per usual, Greece is main front and centre on the agenda. We've had over the weekend a new proposal from the Greeks in an attempt to try and drive this agreement through. They've come back with a proposal because obviously all the preceding ones have been basically thrown out by the creditors, and there's a summit meeting, an emergency summit between the Eurozone leaders on Monday, and they're going to obviously thrash out whether this new proposal is acceptable or not. Now, there's no details yet of this proposal, but presumably they've come forward with a whole range of potential spending cuts from the government and also tax rises. And I think probably more crucially would be improvement or increases to the retirement age and also pension reforms as well. They all need to be done. So it'll be interesting to see what happens through these proposals. But at the moment, the reaction has been positive from the creditors. But obviously, we wait to see whether a deal can actually be done. Now, the market sentiment has changed significantly on this news over the weekend. Stock markets rallying sharply, the DAX 3% higher on Monday, and also bond yields as well. The German Bund yield has started to push higher again, and that's come and narrowed the spread once again between the core and periphery Eurozone, which is a suggestion also that market sentiment would be improving on the back of that. Now, in terms of the Forex markets, well, the dollar index has had an interesting come back to a support. 93.25 is a key support on this dollar index, and that is the neckline of a potential large top pattern. That, on the flip side, when you look at euro dollar, equates to 114.65. That's a massive resistance on euro dollar, and that continues to hold back. Now, the near-term bias remains positive on euro dollar whilst it trades above $1.1065. But at the moment, that is a big ceiling in place, and it'll be interesting to see if that dollar index can be tested, and that dollar index support is tested. Now, the fact is that if this Greek deal does go through, then at the moment the euro hasn't reacted, but if it does go through, then you could well see the euro putting pressure on that key resistance at 14.65, and on the flip side of putting pressure on that 93.25 support on dollar index. Now, in terms of cable's already broken out above the 158.15 level. However, is it going to be continuing to go higher? It's currently consolidating a little bit. It's gone a long way so far. Now, it depends on whether we start to see the profit taking coming through, because consolidation could turn into correction, and at the moment there are a few near-term technical signals that are not being triggered yet, but still are threatening potentially to induce a bit of a correction, and that this initial support at 158 could be interesting, so watch out for that, I'd say, on cable. Now, in terms of dollar yen, we've had a bit of a consolidation between a couple of Fibonacci levels, actually 50% and 38.2% of a big bull run from 118.85 to 125.86. Now, the consolidation between those two levels is ongoing, but I still think that dollar yen is in the process of building a new higher low, a new low above or around that breakout around 122 figure. So it'd be interesting to see if that takes off as well, if market sentiment continues to improve. And what about the indices? Well, the DAX has been the big story of the markets. Throughout the last few weeks, really, the volatility has been enormous, and what we've seen on Monday, as I said, is a huge rally on the DAX. Now, that is pushing up 3%, and it's pushing towards the key resistance at 11,420. Now, that is a big initial key lower high that needs to be breached in order to turn the technical outlook round. But certainly, if the Greeks get their deal through, then you'd imagine that sentiment would continue to push strongly higher on the DAX, and you could see a big relief rally engaging there. Now, the S&P 500 is interesting because it has been holding up fairly well, but been unable to really push on through lack of positive news flow. Obviously, this Greek cloud that still hangs over equity markets has been a bit of a drag on the S&P 500, but not as much as obviously the European indices. But still, we've got nice support building, or has been building, above 2070, and you can imagine that if there is a Greek deal that goes through positively and successfully, then you could see the S&P 500 breaking above that 2135 level. In terms of FTSE, it's a bit of a sort of bridesmaid, I think. FTSE is certainly bridesmaid to the DAX's wedding anyway, so it certainly looks as though that the FTSE has rallied on the DAX today on this news of Greece potential deal in the offing. However, not anywhere near as strongly as the DAX, but still a rally is a rally, and FTSE is pushing towards the resistance of 6,870. In terms of the gold price, it sort of plays into the whole dollar-yen rally and bond yield rally as well. So the safe haven trades are beginning to unwind because we had a strong rally on gold last week. That's beginning to fall away again and needs to hold above the initial support at 1185. Otherwise it could come back towards the test of the lows again in this range, but certainly it's fairly much more neutral than it has been certainly in recent days. So what about the rest of the week, what we've got to look out for? Well, we have got, on Monday, we've got the existing home sales. We've got actually a fair bit of housing data this week, but you've got the existing home sales Monday and also the new home sales on Wednesday as well. Now, other than that, we've got the Chinese flash PMI. So that flash PMI could also have another impact on market sentiment on Tuesday. And then also on Tuesday, we have the durable goods for the US. Now that, again, durable goods for the US is a strong market moving number because the durable goods have not been positive recently, and you need to start to see those durable goods pulling higher if the Fed's going to be sort of looking towards hiking interest rates. On Thursday, probably the most important number of the week is the personal consumption expenditure, which is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. It has been sort of drifting lower in recent months, back to 1.2%. So it'd be interesting to see if that continues to drift lower. The expectation is for another 0.1% month-on-month growth. And on Friday, we've got the Japanese CPI, which is expected to drift back towards flat as well, towards zero inflation, and also the final reading of Michigan sentiment. So again, lots of US data to drive markets. Focus on that PCE on Thursday, I would, but obviously the Greek deal and the Greek news and any developments around the Greek news will be the big driver of the week. So I wish you good luck in your trading, and I'll speak to you next week. Thank you.